Hello folks, Neil here from I Will Always Love Video Games on YouTube, and you're listening to the Xsgaming podcast. This holiday season, consider donating your unwanted games to Get Well Gamers, a certified public charity that delivers video games to children's hospitals and treatment facilities across the country. For more information, head over to facebook.com/getwellgamers.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Xsgaming Podcast. This is episode 96. We're recording this on December 7th, and I'm one of your hosts, Xander Skullion, and joined with me is my wonderful co-host, Mr. James Gruesome. What's up, James?
What's up, everybody? Feels like it's been so long since we've done an episode. My laptop didn't even want to start barely before the episode, because that's all I really use it for. Other than that, I hope you all are doing well, and I also saw the craziest thing. Just a few minutes before the show, I was sitting around looking at some videos, and I saw a commercial for a food item. It's an item we've all eaten, a cheap item. I just don't think I've ever seen a commercial for it.
You talking about ramen?
Yes! You knew what I was talking about. You must have seen this too and just been quite flabbergasted, because I don't think we've ever had commercials for ramen before.
I've never seen a commercial. I mean, I've seen them in like Japanese commercials and stuff, but when you said like a cheap thing that all of us have eaten, I'm like, yep, ramen.
You know, it's a great thing. We all love it. We all enjoy it. Most of us, I figure. But a commercial, I've just never seen it. It's like this trippy acid trip commercial or something too. It's this guy in a club, and
I have seen that.
I'm gonna warm it up. He looks kind of like John Cena, and his head turns into like a big eraser, and he's got ramen on his face and the back of his head.
I did see that commercial that you mentioned. When you said a club, it automatically made me remember it. And you said that, I think we've talked about this in a previous episode. We talked about ramen. You like the what is it? The chili ramen, the shrimp and lime. I can't remember.
Not sure, but I do like the. We might even talk about what we put on it. I know I always put lemon pepper, like crushed Cajun pepper. I usually like the spicy ones. Big fan of the chicken. I like the ones in a little tray, the yakisoba, and then I'll eat any of it. French onion and hot and spicy were two of the greatest ever made by Winn-Dixie, a grocery store we used to have around here. I know they have them in Florida. If any of y'all have, go get the Thrifty Made brand ramen, French onion, or hot and spicy. It's amazing. I don't have it anymore though, so I miss it.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I did want to mention our intro is a little different, and that's because I'm helping a good friend of mine, Neil, his YouTube channel. I Will Always Love Video Games. They're having a little get-together for Get Well Gamers. It's a charity organization. I'll have a link on the description on this episode where you guys can go to facebook.com/getwellgamers, and if you guys have any games that you're no longer playing, or maybe you're going out game hunting, you find some deals, you can donate these games to children's hospitals, and just to help kids out, especially during the holidays. It's getting around Christmas time. This is a Christmas episode, and I thought it was awesome. So when he told me, I was like, would you please make a radio bumper? I would love to put this on the podcast.
Yeah, that's very cool. Do you know for sure, do they just take absolutely, any type of game from, all systems and years and generations?
I'm pretty sure they do. I'm pretty sure they have, consoles that get donated to and stuff like that. I mean, I think it's just a great idea, especially, there's a lot of YouTubers that I know that do, the dumpster dives. D-Dave is a YouTube channel that I watch, and they've done it in the past. They've donated games and even books and stuff like that. They've donated to children and stuff. And I remember, I think it was last year, the Game Chasers went to Salvation Army, and they donated a lot of the toys and stuff like that they've collected. They also went out and bought some toys for kids. I mean, that's really cool. It's really awesome. I mean, we're all into this, what some people would see as a childlike hobby, but we're doing this for children as well. That's pretty cool.
And let's be honest, we've all got games sitting around that we don't play, and instead of trading them in for 50 cents at GameStop, even if they got, an extra $2 if you trade in 3 of them, come on, it's there's some kids out there that would enjoy them more, and I'm sure you'd feel great, knowing that a kid out there got enjoyment out of something that you just had sitting around and were pretty much going to giveaway anyway to a store. So
Exactly.
it's something to check into. I'm sure they got a good website, with the question I asked of of what systems, if it's anything. And also too, along that, there's lots of local charities and stuff. It's just a good time of year. Like I said, the season of giving, no matter what, if you can help somebody out, it's just a good thing to do it. And it feels good too.
Exactly, and yeah, the description is going to be below. I want to also include Neil's YouTube channel as well. But yeah, if you guys are listening to this on Podomatic, iTunes, YouTube, and now VidMe, that's right, we have now joined vidme.com. You guys can check out facebook.com/getwellgamers. Now, James, since the last episode, man, we haven't talked since. I mean, we've talked on the phone, like texting each other and stuff like that. But as in the podcast, the last time we recorded the podcast, there was a console you didn't have that now you do.
Now I do.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
It is. It's pretty exciting for me. The last time I pretty much got a new console was a few years ago when I got my Wii U. And I got it beforehand. I saved it for Christmas. I opened it up. I just tried to relive that childhood, memory of getting up on Christmas with a Nintendo system, and it was pretty cool. And I realized you can't fully go back, but you can still have a good time. I will say that this time though, I got my PS4 finally, and it's been really exciting. It still feels like I've just stayed so busy. For me, especially after, last show we had, I think it was a little bit before Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. And right after Thanksgiving is usually when work starts kicking in for me. And it just picks up, because it is Christmas. And I did go out that weekend. I'd gotten, how I said, I'd sold to my brother a bunch of my old Super NES games and, some other stuff. And I got some money from him. I'd got about half the money. And I don't know. I had that spark one day. I woke up. I was just like, I want to go do this. I'm going to go get this. The terabyte PS4 Pro had come out. That they had it. It was down at GameStop. And I went. They kept sending me. And every time I go in there, they're like, you qualify for the GameStop credit card. I'm like, I don't want a credit card. I don't want a credit card. Finally, I was like, you know what? I had half the money from my brother. I said, let me just go check on this credit card. And they only approved me for $250, and I don't know what that really says about me for sure. But it's great because that's all I wanted. That's all I needed. I managed to use the money I got from my brother, use the GameStop credit card, and a little bit of money on my own. And I got the PS4 Pro, terabyte, with a couple games. I picked up WWE 2K17 just because I have to. This was the first year, and I don't know how long I actually didn't get it at launch. I think it came out on the PS3 this year, probably for the last time. But, I wanted to wait because I knew I was getting one soon. I got that and Mafia 3. And, I already had a stack of games beforehand. And I've been going, to the store now and then, which I'm sure we'll talk about during games we've been playing near the end because I've picked up quite a few. But, I finally have one. It was just... man, it was just cool getting that big system. It's all heavy in the box. You got to open it up, hook it all up. I'm like, man, where do I even stick this disc in at? It's kind of
yeah.
It's kind of inconspicuous on the Pro the way it sits. It's kind of got the little edges, like a little stacked kind of set of steps, But got it in. I really love it. The controller, I really love. I didn't, quite fully know how different it was. I might have held one briefly, but you actually have one of your own. You sit down and play stuff, and you realize, like, man, that's pretty comfortable. And
it's a fantastic controller.
And I didn't even know with the light bars. I was talking to my brother about it, and he's like, yeah, sometimes they use it, for like your health in a game. And the very next game I played, Shadow Warrior. Our friend Grib Garcia had been talking about that one for a while, and I made sure that was one I picked up on the first day also. Really great game you get for under $20, and it had the health life bar, where it's like green, it goes to red, and I'm just like, this is insane. Of course, if you play in the dark with the blue light on the bottom, it's a pretty bright controller. It's almost like a cell phone, it's like you're not going to fall down with that in the room, but I like blue. So it turned out good. But yeah, wonderful controller. Going back to the PS3, it was just like the standard we were used to for so long. And, going back to it, it's well, it's still a good controller. It's kind of uncomfortable compared to the PS4. I just got to say, the total grip and everything of it is really good. I'm actually thinking of getting another controller. I always wanted to get a red PS3 controller, and just never did. I kind of had a Bobo just in case anybody was ever over, for co-op games. But since I will say the battery life is not the greatest thing in the world with the PS4 controller, probably due to all the extra lights and stuff, I think I might, actually invest in getting a good second controller. The gold is pretty spiffy looking, and I do like that throwback PS1 gray, but the red is just one I've always just kind of dug. So it's always hard to plunk down, $60 for a controller. But I actually like this controller so much, I feel less bad about spending $60 on it. That's, like I said, other than the battery life, that's how I feel about that. It's a really nice controller.
Yeah, I mean, I use that controller for my laptop when I'm doing like emulation, like when I'm playing, arcade games. I know Jamie and I. We've been doing a lot of Let's Plays on YouTube, and that's what we use. Because she has a PS4 as well, so when I go over to her house, I just bring my laptop and my PS4 controller, and we hook it up and start playing. And yeah, it's such a great controller. I love it. And I do admit, after playing the PS4 for a long period of time and picking up the PS3 controller, or even like the PS2 and stuff like that, it's pretty much the same controller. It does feel a little different. Now, the PS3 controller, I don't know about you, but after playing the PS4 and picking up the PS3 controller almost feels kind of cheap.
Yeah, it's a little bit more rigid. Actually, the last time when I had an extended play, I was playing Yakuza 5, and I was thinking maybe I was just holding the controller weird, or sometimes with, like, what I do at work with handling a lot of mail and stuff, like sometimes I was like, it's one of those jobs where, it's like you could get, easily arthritis more, or even like carpal tunnel. Hello, kitten. And it's one of those things. So I didn't know if it was just me or the controller, but it actually was like slightly uncomfortable to me the last time. And, my brother had told me, he's like, yeah, just wait till you go back to PS3. He's like, man, that controller's going to kind of suck. And like I said, it's a noticeable thing, but like I said, we were so used to that style for so many years, and it was good. And I commend Xbox, for their, even the S, was a good one, but definitely the 360. I'm sure the Xbox One is in the same mold. It's very comfortable. You can't knock that controller and say it's not comfortable. And I don't know if PS3 took a slight cue from them. Nintendo with their with the Wii U, with the Pro, definitely took off, from the 360, I feel. So, at the end, they're all going to borrow from each other, and if it's for the better, then, that's all I can say. But to me, it still has that PlayStation controller feel. It's just better. Even the indentions on the thumbsticks, it's just a little something different that you notice it. The shoulder buttons felt a little odd to me at first, and I don't know if it's just because I was playing WWE 2K17, and you have to use the L2 and R2 so much for the counters, and for some reason that felt like a little odd. But when I was playing just a game like Mafia 3, I didn't know, like, they didn't feel weird to me. So I don't know if it was just maybe the system was a little bit more awkward, in the wrestling game or what, but, after using it for a bit, I absolutely love it. Like I said, so much that it's like, I would pay $60 for another one of these.
I bet you freaked out when the sound started coming out of the little speaker.
That was another thing. When EJ told me about the Life Bar, he mentioned the sound coming out, and not too long after that, I'm trying to think of what the first game was that I played, the sound came out. I don't know if it was on the RE7 demo. I don't know if sound comes out on that one. I was playing one game and the sound came out. It could have even been on Mafia. I'm not sure. But yeah, it definitely... I wasn't expecting it, It's definitely something cool. That was one thing I loved about the Wii in certain games. When it would come out, I noticed on the... was one of the horror games that uses the cell phone... can't think of what the name of it is, but it relies heavily, as do a lot of like the horror themed Wii games. They definitely use that, and that was a really cool function. And maybe that's another case of controller taking from another one. And, you know, at the end, as long as it's for the better, it's like, you know, why not? You got to rip people off sometimes, man. That's just how the world works.
Yeah. I'm glad you finally got yourself a PlayStation 4. And I feel like, you know, this time is the best time to have a PS4. I mean, I got mine back in like 2015. And, you know, I bought it right around when Bloodborne was coming out. And, you know, I feel like 2015 is right when the PS4 started really gaining momentum. We kind of got out of that, you know, HD remaster phase that came with the launch. It was like every game that was coming out for PS4 was like a remaster of the PS3. And I remember I was getting so pissed off about that. But, you know, after 2015, the ball started rolling. And now, you know, now that you have a PS4, all those cool games that came out in 2015, you can get super cheap. And now we have so many great games coming out, especially with the PSX that just happened this last weekend, that you're on the N train, man. You're on the Sony PS4 train, and you can just go and ride the rails of awesome gameage. You know?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you know, it's exciting. You know, it was fun having that new system, new games. You know, the most expensive ones I got were, you know, the 2K17 WWE, which, you know, just came out in October, Mafia 3. You know, those ones that are still $55 used. And, you know, that was fine. But other than that, those were the two most expensive games I got. Everything else, honestly, I've gotten has been about, you know, $20 or less. And,
Yeah.
you know, along with other ones that were, you know, given to me so far. So I haven't really spent a lot on games, and I feel like I've got a lot. You know, it's like I got the PSN open up. So many games on there I see. I talked about before about the Firewatch, and I just realized this watching a video about the there's a game Amnesia I just got recently, and they worked on the sequel. They also have a game called Dear Esther. It's a company called the Chinese Room, and they were talking about, you know, how they make like walking simulator games. And I talked about Firewatch, and I said, a friend of mine said, "Isn't that pretty much a walking simulator?" I didn't know that was actually a title given to games at that time until I watched this.
Yeah, I'm still not... I haven't played any walking simulators. I know, like, Return to Rapture is another one of them.
That's Chinese Room also, yes.
Yeah, I haven't played these games yet. I've heard mixed reviews. I will say a lot of people that I've met that like these walking simulators are the same kind of people that love the visual novels on the Vita. You know, they're the kind of gamer that kind of likes to have that immersive relaxation.
Yes.
So that, to me, that's not a bad thing. I kind of like stuff like that. I like Flower. Flower was a really relaxing, you know, game, and you know, the visual novels seem really, really cool. So yeah, Firewatch has been a game I've been really wanting to play.
Yeah, Limited Run. The reason I haven't gotten Firewatch yet is Limited Run is actually going to do a limited run of Firewatch. So
Do you know when that's going to be?
I'm thinking it's pretty soon. You know, I heard about it. They seem to come out with something, you know, every month or every other month.
Yeah,
so,
I'm going to put some money back for that.
I think it's their next one. And like I said, you know, if it's like the other one when I got a Shadow Complex, you know, that one was only 25. I think their prices are pretty reasonable for just about everything. So, you know, it could be 20 for a download, and even if I paid 30 for a disc, I think that's awesome. But yeah, I realized that walking simulator, in the video they said how it was initially kind of like, you know, done in jest. It was like a knock, you know, just like a walking simulator, and they decided to just kind of take it and run with it, even though they feel it doesn't really quite encompass what their games are. You know, I just thought when my friend said that, I thought, man, isn't that a game where you just like walk around? And I was like, yeah, you know, but I was like, it's got a story, there's stuff. I like that. You don't have to worry about enemies. That's one of those things you could almost describe as a casual experience, even though I think someone that would really get into it could be someone that would be considered more, you know, of a hardcore gamer. But, you know, it's always good to have those different categories, whether it's, you know, a puzzle. That's one of those ones that kind of falls into like an obtuse range like that. It's almost kind of like the, you know, I would say like the point and click titles, but it's kind of off on its own. It's definitely something cool. And I was describing these as, you know, man, I see a lot of these first person horror games on, you know, PSN. That's what I called them when I saw this, like first person horror, but I guess they're just kind of all in the walking simulator too. So it's just a very cool and a genre I'm definitely gonna dive into. I think the Dear Esther, actually PSN just gave me like $10 for free. I had a message and it's like, here, you get $10, and I was like, cool. So probably gonna get another one of those games very soon. But I've picked up so many. I've just been trying to play a little bit of everything while feeling like I haven't played anything, and haven't really delved into checking everything out. But I've tried to get in what I can, and each time like I have a day off, I try to just really like sit down and play to check everything out. But I'm just doing what I can through the season. It stays so busy. So if anything, next year I know I'll have some more like spare time where I can just finally figure everything out and just soak it all in.
Yeah, it's kind of like how I am right now. I have a pretty decent backlog, but there's also been so many games that came out since October that I haven't even bought yet. And that was something else I was going to kind of talk about. I mean, there's so many games that are out, and I was actually thinking about it the other day. I was just like, man, why do I always buy games the day it comes out? I have a bad habit of doing that, buying games on release, and Final Fantasy 15 came out, and I still don't have it. And a lot of my friends have been playing it. A lot of my friends have loved it. Even people I know that played Final Fantasy after 13, and they're like, man, I'm done. I don't want to play Final Fantasy. They've went back and played 15, and they've like fell back in love with it. The crazy thing is like Final Fantasy 15, of course, is $60 new, but I'm already seeing prices of it for like $40 to $45 on Amazon right now. The price is already dropping. So James, I mean, I want to ask you your thoughts on this. Are you I got to get it now, or do you like to wait for the price to drop?
It really kind of varies. For me, it can depend on the game. I went through a spell, actually, for a bit. It was like a while back, when it was a little bit after we'd started doing the show, and I started picking up more new games. I thought, because I kind of felt like the need to, like it gave me something else, to talk about. And over time, that kind of faded, because it's like there's always, it's like you can still talk about something older that maybe somebody missed, and there's always other people that are going to talk about that brand new game. It became less of a necessity. There were things I just kind of felt like I was spending money on and stuff just to play for a little bit, and I didn't really go back to it. So I don't think there's a need really to go out and get everything on day one. Like I said, you can always wait. I mean, even if you get something used a couple days later, like I said, if it's at GameStop, it's 55. You got the Pro Club or whatever is another 10%. And if you're saving a bit, even if you wait a few months, there are so many games. Like with me, I'm trying to catch up. I got The Last Guardian yesterday. And that's the very first new game I've really bought, in a while. And I just kind of wanted it. I was like, I hadn't had like a new game yet, but I think it could vary for the person. Like, say, I need to go out and get like everything day one. Some stuff you can wait for, but if it's something that you really want and you want it, there's no question about, going out and getting that day one. It's always, it could be a good experience with WWE games. So this year was the first time I didn't get one day one, but I didn't really feel like heartbroken or anything by it.
Yeah.
Yakuza, I downloaded that, day one. And coming up, shortly, there's, we're getting 0 in January, and we got some really great news to me that we're getting Kiwami, which is the remake of 1. So anybody who's ever, wanted to play the series, hell, if you don't want to start at 0 in January, there's no better way to start than the complete remake of Part 1. Kiwami we'll be getting in summer of 2017, and we're getting Part 6 in early 2018.
Awesome.
For me, that's some insane news. Those of course will always be day one titles. Everybody's got their title that will be that day one.
Yeah, that's kind of how I am. I mean, if like Konami came out with a Castlevania that was really, really good, that would be like a day one. Dragon Quest games are usually day one, even though I haven't gotten Dragon Quest Builders, but I'm waiting for the price to drop on that one. But yeah, that's the thing. I think like certain series, like I have to get day one just because one, I love the company or I love the game and I want to show support, and plus it is that bug. Like I gotta have it now because it's something I'm really into. But yeah, guys, I mean, right now is the best time to kind of sit and wait because after the holiday season, you'll have a big buffet of games and all the prices will drop down. I mean, I'm looking at Final Fantasy 15. I'm going to get it soon, but I could see it January, February. It would be a $30 game used at GameStop. No questions asked.
Yeah, you definitely will. And also, too, there's lots of sales. I saw just, Best Buy is having a buy two, get one free. You're going to hit that time, like I said, now where it's like you could spend a bit more, but you get a little something extra. Or you could wait, after the holidays. There's so many people that just play stuff for a bit. There's so many people getting that stuff. I think that's, one of the things. They get it day one, and then they just kind of wear out with it. Either they trade it in or, it just goes to the side. So it never hurts. But, I can't blame people for it's like that game, that hype. They want to get in on it. It's like when, a new movie comes out or, a TV show people watch. I didn't watch the new Star Wars till it came out on DVD. I don't know. I think I really like Star Wars, but I was like, I don't know if I can wait that long. Like maybe I'm not as into it as I thought, or either I just want to sit and maybe watch it at home. I think I might go see the new one when it comes out, but it just kind of depends on how I feel. Sometimes it's just like, man, I don't feel like going out there, and then it just goes away from the theater, and it just happens. Like I'm really good at procrastinating, so.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because like I said, I mean, I've known plenty of people that, went out and bought the new game that just came out, and, they play it, and then a month later, I'm like, oh yeah, that game you spent like $60 on, it's like, it's on sale for like half price now. A website I will say for the listeners to check out, you guys can get great deals on games that are coming out, or, various different retail stores. It's kind of like, think of like the Coupon Mom, like those forums for Coupon Moms that get all those like sales, and like, oh man, meat's $3.99 a pound at Harris Teeter. This website's called Cheapassgamer.com. This isn't a plug, but Cheapassgamer.com. Visit that website. Some people even screen print coupons and stuff like that, so you can get coupons for like Best Buy, Walmart, Toys R Us, Amazon. I remember one time when Pokemon Sun and Moon, when it was coming out for pre-orders, they had like a special week that you could pre-order it for just $20, and it was on cheapassgamer.com letting everyone know. So everyone went out and pre-ordered it, and those special people got it for $20 instead of paying $40. So that's right, guys, cheapassgamer.com. Check that website out. But what we're going to do, guys, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about PSX. We're going to talk about the PS4. We're going to talk about some Nintendo Switch news. And, just talk about the video game awards and everything. So when we come back, we have lots to talk about. Also some Christmas stuff. I asked the Xsgaming Podcast group page, what do you guys do for Christmas? Or, what kind of games do you want to get for this holiday season? They answered that. So we'll be reading the answers off the page as well. So sit back, relax, guys, and we'll be right back. And we are back, guys, and that was Blue Stinger. That was their little Christmas level, and in some shape or form since we started this podcast, we've had this song on our Christmas special. It just wouldn't be Christmas without Blue Stinger.
Nope, it's one of our holiday classics for sure.
It's one of my favorite Christmas songs. Like the other weekend, Jamie and I put up the Christmas tree, and I was like, "Yep." We had to listen to Blue Stinger and Jason Heine from now it's Heine House Productions, but he was the Emulator Review and the All Gen Gamers podcast as well. He did a Christmas album back in like 2011, and that's just I always listen to that album every time it's Christmas. It's just what it is that nostalgic feels. But yeah, we got a couple of things to talk about. Speaking of Christmas. I did ask the Xsgaming podcast group page, asked them, with Christmas coming up, what were they planning on getting for the holidays? Like, what kind of games were they going to get? And I'm going to read some people's answers, and then we can talk about what we're going to do with some of our Christmas money, or maybe if we want a game, what kind of game would we want for Christmas? So, first was Jared Burns. He said, Kamen Rider, Bat Rider War W on the PS4 if I had the money. I'm thinking that's probably a PS4 import of the Cayman Riser. Also, Neil, who we just did a plug for the beginning of the show from I Will Always Love Video Games, he says, I've got 670 games on Steam and a huge PS4 backlog, so I'm set for a while.
That's a lot of games.
It is. Honestly, though, that's like 670 games on Steam. That's that's a small collection. Like some people like I know that have Steam have 1,200 games. It's just madness. Like Steam is so crazy. Dom from Dahmer Cooler Stuff, YouTuber, he says that NES Classic, Final Fantasy 15, and maybe Paper Mario on the Wii U. And Jason also mentioned Paper Mario on the Wii U, and that's another game that's on my I need to get list. I've been hearing good things about the Paper Mario on Wii U. Didn't you get that, James?
No,
because I remember you were talking about wanting to get it.
Yeah, no, I the last one I have was the one that came out on the 3DS, the Super Stecker Saga, something like that. That was the last one. I mean, I think it's really you can't go wrong. I mean, to me, the Paper Mario and Super Mario RPG were always kind of related, kind of different worlds. But, going back from the 64 one, was amazing. The one on the GameCube, the Wii. So it's really kind of hard to picture the Wii U one, being not good. And, while I've mainly been on a huge PS4 kick, it's I still got the Wii U. Been playing more Wii games and stuff on it, but it's a system I'm not abandoning. So I'm sure at some point, I probably will. How we were talking about though with the price drop in games, that's the one thing about those Mario and first party Nintendo games. They don't really tend to drop in price too much.
Yeah, exactly. I do eventually want to get that because I hear it's really good. I know the one on the 3DS didn't get the biggest response. Some people didn't care for the stickers and stuff like that, but I hear this new one has more of a feeling of Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, which I adored that one on the GameCube. So that's definitely a game I want to get on my list. Now Joshua, aka Game Grinder, he does a podcast as well, The Tenant Gamers. You can listen to him on SoundCloud. Really, really fun podcast. He says, the whole year has been Christmas for me. With all the games I've picked up, I'm not even close to keeping up with it. The Last Guardian and Shantae Half Genie Hero are the big ones for me this month, though. I have to agree with him, man. I feel like 2016 and 2017, which we'll get into when we start talking about PSX, I feel like this has been great years for gaming, man. There's so much stuff that's came out, like I said earlier, in October, I haven't even touched yet. Haven't even thought about buying yet. Yeah,
you hit that end of the year. You get so many titles that come out. From the stretch, really, of you might get your couple big summer games, and then you hit the fall games, and they really keep going on to where you get some big stuff all the way up through Christmas, and then you start hearing about the things for next year, whether it's next spring, next summer, next one. It does. Sometimes it can be like, there's not much stuff coming out, but when you sit back and think about the big aspect of it all, it's like you definitely hit those peak times, where it's like you really get hit up, and there is so much stuff. Like I said, for me, I'm trying to catch up on some of the old ones. Then there's that new stuff coming in at the same time. So for me, it's like a little bit, overwhelming in a sense, to where I feel like I got to try to catch up with everything.
Yeah, and also Jason, another Jason. We have a couple of different Jasons on the group page, but Jason, you know who you are. I got to hang out with him at the Fayetteville Comic-Con.
Is that Jason Guinard?
Yes, awesome dude. Awesome
I saw
guy.
that he lived in Fayetteville. I didn't.
He
know
does,
that.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things like. When he ran into me at Fayetteville, I was like, whoa, hey, what's up? I wasn't expecting him to be there either, but he was there, and we got to hang out and talk, and we talked about Walking Dead. He got a couple posters signed and stuff, but he finally got himself a PS4 as well. He got the PS4 Uncharted 4 Last of Us bundle, which, what better way to join the PS4 crowd and get two really fantastic games. I mean, Last of Us, great game. I haven't had a chance to play the remaster version, but I did beat it on the PS3, and I really loved it. And Uncharted 4, I've heard nothing but great things. I haven't played Uncharted 4 because I still need to beat Uncharted 2 and 3.
You're like me. You want to kind of get through, the other ones, and it's hard to pass up. I mean, the prices keep dropping. With the Pro and everything, and the Slims coming out, the other ones go. I know coming up, I think it's this week or the next week, either they're going to be like $250 for the PS3. Like I said, I fully admit I paid $400, for my PS4 Pro. I really wanted that terabyte.
Yeah.
That was like my goal. I just kind of, so many people have told me like, yeah, you're really going to want that. You need to get the terabyte, blah, blah, blah. So I had that in mind, but there's so many deals. You can always get, external hard drives and extra stuff. And it's just really cool when they give you deals when you get like extra games, because we're so used to consoles that used to come out with games and two controllers that I think anytime you can get one in this day that comes with one, that's just, we was talking about nostalgia. That's a little bit of just nostalgic feels, when you can get a game with a system. Always cool.
Yeah, and Matt, he said Titanfall 2, and he said it's a very awesome game. Final Fantasy 14 and Final Fantasy 15, I should say. Super Robot Wars OG Moon Dwellers. That sounds like a fantastic game. I haven't heard anything about it, but it's a mech game, and I don't know. Super Robot Wars has me right there. And also, Odin Sphere, the remaster on the PS4, which was a game I totally forgot about. I forgot that Odin Sphere had a remaster on the PS4, and I was like, I need to get this game too. So that's another game to add to my list of something I need to play. And last but not least, we had BioPhoenix Chris, which yesterday was his birthday, so happy birthday, Chris. He just got the new Galaxy-style new Nintendo 3DS, and man, have you seen that, the new Galaxy?
I saw the picture of that he posted up, and I've seen a couple of people that have had that. I think Games of War, I saw a picture. He got one not too long ago. It's a very cool system, and I mean, you can't go wrong with the 3DS. I still got my same one. I've loved all the editions really that they've had of it, and it's just such a good system. I really honestly haven't played the most of lately. The last time I downloaded the new River City Ransom, and I really haven't even sat down and played it. I keep thinking, I was like, man, I just need to sit down and play that. But sometimes it's hard to catch that time. So hopefully I will finally get to that one time along with everything else. It's a struggle. It's a good struggle to have, though.
It is.
Just all these games I want to play. I just don't have the time. I'll get to them one day.
It is, and for you guys that are listening, if you're listening to this on YouTube or VidMe or even Podomatic, 'cause I think Podomatic you can leave a comment. Let us know what kind of games that you're wanting for Christmas, or what you're going to get with your Christmas money. I mean, a lot of us, we get gift cards now. That's something I always get from my mom or my sister. They just end up giving me like a Visa gift card or GameStop gift card, and I end up buying a game that, I mean, I could buy for myself anyway, but I'm like, I'm going to use this gift card and get this. And it's funny, isn't it funny, when you have a gift card and then, like, say it's like a $25 gift card, and you see a game that was like $25 that normally you wouldn't even think about buying. But once you had that $25 gift card, all of a sudden you're just like, oh, I'm going to go get it now.
It gives you that freedom. Sometimes there's a game that's like you might not want to get with your own money. It could be a game. It could be anything in general, really. But it's like if you have that money that someone else gave it to you, it's kind of like, well, it's not really my money. It's like you can take that. You feel better about taking a risk. Sometimes it's something you want, but you're like, I don't know if I... But like once you get that extra bit, and like I said, it's yours, but it's kind of not. It's just it's that freedom, and it feels kind of good. It's like it's like this might be some kind of crap. It's like, but I'm not really wasting anything. It's like let me go ahead and get it. And sometimes you win. Most of the time you win, and once in a while you lose, and then all you can do is laugh about it.
Exactly. Now, I know we didn't start the podcast talking a lot about gaming news. This is kind of where we're going to talk a little bit about gaming news, mostly the stuff that really stuck out in my mind, that I was like, man, we got to talk about this when we do the podcast. And we'll talk about this, and then we'll get into games we've been playing recently, because we got a couple of games to talk about with that. But, PSX was just this past weekend. And, to be honest, the PlayStation 4 has been down on sales for the past 4 months. Xbox One has actually been beating PS4. And a PSX conference just totally... If you had a PS4 and for some reason you were like, man, I don't know if I invested in such a good console, the PSX really changed your mind on that, because there were a lot of great games. One of my friends, Amanda, she actually went to PSX. She sent me pictures all weekend. I was like, damn, I wish I was there. Of course, they showed off games like the Crash Bandicoot HD remaster, remake of the trilogy. They showed that off. They showed off more of Resident Evil, The Last of Us 2. So, Jason, you're listening right now, right after you're done with Last of Us, get ready for Last of Us 2. I know you want to play it. Also, Marvel vs. Capcom 4, also known now as Marvel vs. Capcom Infinity. This looks like a really fun game. Now, a lot of people have been talking about the fact that the X-Men are absent in this game, but... I think later on it might be a DLC, because for one, I'm surprised Capcom got the rights to Marvel again, because Marvel got bought out by Disney, and when they got bought out by Disney, of course, the Marvel vs. Capcom 3 servers went down. Marvel vs. Capcom 1 and 2 were deleted off the marketplace. They no longer had the rights, so you could no longer play it. That's all returning. Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is back on the PSN. I believe Xbox Live as well. It's $30. You can get the Ultimate Edition. So, I mean, I think later on we'll see X-Men once they kind of work with Fox, because Fox owns X-Men right now. So maybe that would be a DLC. I was trying to think of some of the other games. The new Hideo Kojima game was being shown. That looks like it looks really interesting. I don't know what they're going with it. They haven't released anything of gameplay, just a lot of cinematics. I don't know if this is going to be like a survival horror game or if it's going to be an action game. Either way, it looks really awesome. And
it's probably going to be weird, when you're
yeah.
And that you can always count on that at the very least.
And of course, Ni no Kuni 2. Ni no Kuni was the reason why I got a PS3. I was like level 5 in Studio Ghibli's making a JRPG. Sign me up. I'm getting it. So I'm excited about that. I mean, there's just so many games. Horizon Zero Dawn looks like a really fun, like, third-person action, like, sci-fi-ish caveman game. It looks really interesting. I think that game's going to be rivaling the new Zelda when it comes out. People are going to either love Breath of the Wild or Horizon Zero Dawn. It just seems that way. And of course, Tekken 7 for all you Tekken fans. There's gonna be a new Tekken coming out.
Tekken 7, wow.
I know, right? So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great games that are gonna be coming out.
And as we said before, Yakuza 0, Yakuza Kiwami, Yakuza 6.
Yeah,
that's 3 of them. That's a lot.
Considering, I mean, man, if someone was to tell you last year, James, that we were getting all this Yakuza love, you would have been like, nah, it's not gonna happen.
Like I said, it's just, we weren't even, I'd given up. Because that's what took me so long to beat 4. I was right at the end, and I said, I don't want to stop. Like, it makes me sad thinking about it, like, right now. Because I thought that was it. I was like, that was going to be nothing more. And then we just been bombarded. Last November, I got 5, and, like, that really just, like, helped me. Because I was like, I don't know. I felt like I was not in, like, a good place last year. And, like, this year, I don't even hate Christmas. I was just despising it last year, along with just many other things. And this year, it's just like, both my neighbors put up Christmas lights, and I'm like, there's Christmas lights. I'm like, I don't know, I kind of like those red ones. Like, those are cool. I would hang those up. It's like, it just doesn't disgust me. And it's like, I could always kind of appreciate the joy other people got out of it, but sometimes it just wasn't for me. But overall, everything is just better. And like I said, once again, I get hit with, like, the Yakuza love. It was November last year, and I got to wait till January. I just did my $5 pre-order, and actually every pre-order is kind of a special edition of Yakuza, or maybe even just every Yakuza. In general, you get the it's like a little holder, I think, for business cards. Comes with something extra. If you're interested in it all, just go pre-order, because all those, you get a little bonus stuff. And
just a nice little thank you.
Yeah, just a little something. So, I mean, it's just so much coming out, like I said, along with that. I don't know, it's just always, I don't know, it kind of always feels like a great time just to be a gamer, because there's always just so much stuff out there either to catch up on that you missed out on. I always look at, gaming and wrestling in the same way. I can always go back and watch old wrestling matches I missed, and there'll always be new great ones, and the same thing with games. Can always find old ones I never played, and it's like there's always ones coming out that are going to be great. So it goes hand in hand with me.
Yeah, and also some Nintendo Switch news. The Nintendo Switch apparently rumored that on the Virtual Console is going to have GameCube games. That's really kind of that's kind of awesome, considering that if you get the Switch and has GameCube games, you can have GameCube games on the go now. I mean, think of, like, on a road trip and you're playing, like, Luigi's Mansion or Mario Sunshine or Eternal Darkness, or, the GameCube has so many great games that you could play now on the go. I mean, think of Smash Brothers Melee. How many people are going to be bringing, their Switches to conventions and having, like, all these, like, Switches interconnect and intertwined in these huge 4-player, or maybe even 8-player if they do a patch or something of Melee matches. I mean, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it finally took up to the. Remember, you could play 64 games on the Wii Virtual Console, and it kind of bled, into the Wii U. The GameCube one, it's always been a little bit lacking. When I first read that news, it was like, the Switch will play GameCube games. I was like, whoa. I'm like, you could put a disc in there? I'm like, that's awesome. And I started reading the article. I was like, oh yeah. I'm like, that's still pretty cool. I mean, I've been enjoying, I'd said before, I'd moved my Wii upstairs to the TV I mostly game on, because we didn't need it downstairs anymore with the Roku. And, I've been playing more GameCube games on, like, my bigger TV, which have been cool. So it's like I'd kind of been getting into GameCube even more recently lately anyway. And then to see that, it's like, it's just time. We've gotten to where we've had, the PS1 games, we've had PS2. And, when you get PS2 games and Xbox games, and Xbox Live, of course, it's just time for the GameCube. Because that just, I mean, it really was a, at the end, it might have not as sold as much as the other ones. It was still a very prominent system that, at least, to me, well, I hadn't owned one. and I've never owned one to this day. I do plan on getting one just at some time, just to have, but a very prominent system that, you can't deny. Whether, like you mentioned earlier, Eternal Darkness, a game that so many people remember and, completely GameCube exclusive, had its own fair share of everything from wrestling games to, just everything, whether it's Zelda's, your first party Nintendo titles, Luigi's Mansion. It really held its own, along with the PS2 and the Xbox in that era. That really was such a strong era that so many people look back upon.
Some people even say that. A lot of people say that was their last favorite Nintendo console. Because, not everyone's a big fan of the Wii and the Wii U. And a lot of people look at the GameCube as like the last best Nintendo console. Now, that's subjective. That's all opinion. And if you feel that way, that's all good. But regardless, that's another way Nintendo's going to be pulling people towards the Switch. Because let's face it, a lot of GameCube games are going up in value as well. A lot of games are not that cheap on the GameCube. You can find a couple that are, affordable, but even the first-party Nintendo titles on the GameCube, they still hold a lot of value. You can go to a retro store and they're still selling a Wind Waker for over $20. Eternal Darkness I mentioned earlier, that game's really went up in value. It's not like in the hundreds or anything, but it's definitely, it wouldn't surprise me to go into a store and see it for $60. That wouldn't surprise me.
That at least up to, I think I might have paid when I got mine was like $35, but you could look up at least like half a bill, like $50 sometimes on the low end, and such a really good one that so many people remember only on that system. The first taste, the Resident Evil remake was on that system. It really is, like I said, I think it really did hold its own, was unique. It was still a small, lighter system with a handle.
Yeah.
It
had the Game Boy player was awesome on it too.
Oh yeah, and that a really good a unique controller that was comfortable, that they went out and produced again for use with the Wii U. It's always cool you can use them with the Wii itself too. They really stayed up to where it's like you can have your old classic ones, or you can buy very new ones to this day. It's like, how many systems can you go back and actually buy? You get your, NES and, little knockoff Super NES controllers, but one that the actual company produces, or gets someone to put out the controllers for them, that's an old kind of, semi-retro controller in the sense that you can use with new systems. That's GameCube's about the only one that I can really think of.
Exactly. And before we end the episode, we are going to do our games we've been playing recently. And James, I've been waiting for this. I want to hear, since you did get your PS4, what have you been playing lately?
Well, I have been trying to play quite a few games. I will say the very first game I popped in was WWE 2K17. And, I got to say, I think it's about time they kind of, I don't know, I think that game needs a change. And I've heard that complaint from some other people too. It just, initially I kind of I was like, oh, the controller feels kind of weird, as I was saying earlier, but, I don't know if it's the controller. It's like, maybe it's just the game itself. This one I played a bit. It's still, I'm always going to have fun with a wrestling game, but, when I look about the last wrestling game that I had the most, fun with was a couple of the Japanese import versions of the, AKI. Yeah, I'm going to be that mark, that's like, AKI system's the best. Well, you know what? It is. A lot of people think that way, and a lot of people are right. That's the most fun I've had going back. But then I went on Mafia 3. I've always enjoyed the Mafia series. And, this one's really no different. I could kind of see it maybe getting a little repetitive at some point. It seems like you got to go attack a certain, gang's area, take it over, blah, blah, blah. But for right now at the time, I'm enjoying it. It's kind of cool. It's a different setting, in New Orleans. It's a different character you're playing as. You're not Italian. You're actually kind of fighting more against the Italian guys. But it's one I've always enjoyed the story with. I like its directness. There's not as much extra stuff. A little bit more straightforward. So I've always liked that one. Until Dawn was a game I'd had before I had the system. I finally popped that one in the other night, and I absolutely love that game. I don't know. There's so many good things to say about that. It kind of feels like in a sense, like the Telltale games, that kind of point and click style, but at the same time, it's still different. This one seems like it could have a lot of replay value. Like, depending on what you do, like, different people could die. Different people could live. I'm kind of playing and not really caring, because some of the characters are just like, you're like, I mean, this guy's a jerk. Like, I don't care about this person. But the more you play it, sometimes certain characteristics and the people could pop out more. And, I really feel like certain things I do, certain scenarios, you pick who dies and who doesn't. And, I went with the chick because, the dude liked her. I thought he might try to get some. So I had his best friend die. So
I'm glad you finally got to play that, man. I knew you would love that game.
Oh, it's so great. And that's another one, you can get for $20 or less. If you just recently got a PS4, check out Until Dawn, if you're into horror stuff. And the thing I liked is it had so many aspects. It had that, slasher feel, teenagers in a cabin, but they brought in a ghost aspect.
Yeah.
It's just
a monster aspect. I mean, I don't want to spoil too much, but there's so many different elements of horror. Like, if you're a big horror buff, this game will cleanse every palette that you love.
Yes, and it has that feel that's like when you get done, to me at least, it's like, I'm going to play this again. Maybe not right away. I always think about, certain games like, I'm going to play this right away again and see what happens, but I don't. But I would definitely go back to it, and it feels like it could have, numerous playthroughs. I also picked up Mad Max. I'd heard pretty good things about this, and I think this game came out a little bit cheaper than normal. I don't know if it was maybe a $40 or $50 game, as opposed to the $60. I paid $15 for it. Kind of based on a movie, with the newest Mad Max that came out. But I think the game is more of a prequel, because you're just really not doing the same things as in the movie. But it's kind of your basic open, it's kind of an open world. You got hand-to-hand combat. I would kind of relate it to Batman. Not as good. Not as good as the Batman series, but it's kind of ripping it off a little bit. So it's still pretty good. And Carmageddon was the game I bought for the PS4.
Oh, yeah.
That's not a good game, I'll tell anybody.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it sucks. Now, I really hated it until I found a football field and I got to run over football players and cheerleaders. That made it a little bit better. But when you compare that, okay, that's a game. It's all about driving in your car. Kind of car combat, too, because you're fighting other cars, running over people. Compare it to Mad Max. Mad Max is a game that has, like I said, hand-to-hand combat. It's open world. And you have some car battles. The car battles in Mad Max and just the driving in general is so much better than Carmageddon, a game that has car in its title. Mad Max is, kind of fun. You get in a battle and you're in your car. You have a grappling hook. You can, hook it through people, through their windshield, rip them out of their car, crash it. Mad Max it's really great. Like I said, especially at $15. I mean, it's really fun. It has that tendency, I think, like Mafia. I said it could get repetitive over time, but I think by the time you could play it and enjoy it, $15, it's actually really good. It manages to do everything completely above adequate. Everything is pretty good. It's like you play it, it's like nothing sucks, and some aspects are really good, and it does stuff a lot better than other games. Like I said, Shadow Warrior that Grib Garcia had recommended. Really good first person. Ninja hacking up stuff. I'm not the biggest first person shooter fan. I do like cutting things up with a sword though. So that was definitely a fun one. And I just picked up Last Guardian yesterday. Came
Oh,
out on
snap.
Tuesday. Yeah, I'd been thinking about it. I know I'd told you. I was like, yeah, I'm debating it, and I thought I might wait, but I don't know. I saw some things about it. I saw some other people getting it. Uh, Eco, I never played the most of. I did. I don't know if I was scarred from Mickey Mousecapade back in the day, which, like I said, I don't hate as much now. I played it, and I was like, that's really not that horrible. I don't like it. It kind of felt like it was like an escort mission game, but I really think it was probably much more than that. Shadow of the Colossus, it made me feel bad when I killed those big creatures.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
Really an epic game. That's one of those games that deserves, I think, that title of epic. It became so overused at one point, but this one, I would see things. The creature, the Trico, this giant monster. It really intrigued me. There was a game on the 360. I think I'd sent you a copy of it. That it was like Majin and the
Yeah.
something. It kind of made me think of that. I like this idea that you can kind of become, attached to these video game creatures. And I think anybody that's had a pet, a dog, a cat, anything, you especially could, draw something from this game. There's just something. You can see its reviews. Games of War. Josh, he really described it as like just more of an experience. He said it kind of went above, a rating or a score, and I could see somebody getting that experience out of it. I enjoyed watching it. Whether I jumped into a giant lake off a cliff, and I'm trying to get Trico to come down with me, and I find some food, and I'm waiting. I like to watch and see what he does because he kind of seems like a mixture like a big dumb dog and a cat. It's like he'll jump across a big gap and like knock you down. And I could really see how you get a bond because at the start of the game, at one point, the little boy who he finds the opening. He's like, "Okay, I'll see you later," and it just starts following you. And well, he was so easy to give him up. I was like, "Well, you just walking away from him." And this game had been in production for a long time, and
Yeah, it has.
honestly, graphically, no, it doesn't blow me away. It's kind of odd because the boy is kind of cell shaded, while the rest of the game is not. When you're climbing, you can climb up on Trico, kind of like Shadow of Colossus, and it looks like there's a little bit of like breakage. Because the graphics don't blow me away. The camera's gonna irritate you at times, but at the same time, it's not really a big deterrent. It's still a game I would recommend to people. It's one of those ones like if you think you would have a good time with it, you probably would. If you just look at it and take the idea of that game, it's like a big dog thing following you around in this desolate world. And if you think you would be into that, you probably would. And I think you'd be able to find a good time out of it. Xander, I think you would really like. It's one, like I said, you could wait for it to go down in price, and but it's one at some point I would say, you definitely should check out. Was it worth the wait? I don't really know, but I think if you're a fan of, the Team Eco games, it's going to be in like your hemisphere, which you'd like to try.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like I've heard mixed reviews about it. The most important thing about it, though, is the people that's been waiting for this game since 2007. They finally got to play it, and they enjoy it. Like, I feel like that, to me, is awesome. I would have felt really bad for these people that have waited for this game over and over. And, at one point, they were like, this game's never going to come out. It was canceled. This isn't going to happen. And then to find that it was happening and they got to play it, it would really... Honestly, it would kind of break my heart if the game didn't live up to their expectations. Now, I understand it's not going to live up to everyone's expectations because the hype is so big and stuff like that. But in the grand scheme of things, the people that really wanted it are playing it. They're enjoying it. And to me, that's the most important aspect of video games. That's freaking awesome. Now, when it comes to what I've been playing recently... I've been playing a lot of Ratchet and Clank on the PS4. This is the new Ratchet and Clank, the one that, and they even make fun of it in the game. It's a game that's based off of a movie that's based off of a video game. It's a lot of fun. It is a really fun platformer. I got it on a Black Friday sale. I wasn't at Black Friday. It was like on a Saturday at Target. I got it for like $15 brand new. And I've been really enjoying that. That's been a lot of fun. I've been playing that. I've been playing a little bit of my Neo Geo Pocket Color, playing the Sonic game that's on the Neo Geo Pocket Color. It plays a lot like a Game Gear Sonic game, or like a Sonic game on the Master System. It plays a lot like that. I still think the best handheld Sonic game is Sonic Advance on the Game Boy Advance. That was really good, but this one's still not bad. So I've been playing that. I still need to play a little bit more Final Fantasy Worlds, or World of Final Fantasy, I should say. And I've been playing Demon's Crest. I found a reproduction of Demon's Crest for like $15 online, and I got that. And is it the real Demon's Crest? No, but it's the game, and I can play it on my Super Nintendo. So the quote the pro wrestling guy, "It's real to me, damn it." You know?
See, I have the real Demon Crest, and you know what? I bet you we're having the same experience with the game.
Yep.
Regardless, it's a really cool one. The just the whole Gargoyles Quest series itself is really cool, and I'm all about just infecting the world with repros. I don't know. It's kind of nihilistic in a sense. It's just at some point you can kind of look at it in a bad way, and it's like with the GameStop, and it's like people are getting these fakes, and it's like, yeah, it's kind of bad, but it's like at some point it's just all going to kind of get mixed in together. And it's I kind of like to see it. Like I said, I turned my brother on to get, he was looking at getting these games. Like, dude, why don't you just try out repros? Now he's completely hooked. But he's not one of them people. Like our friend John. He did a video, and it was on the CU podcast and everything with him. And of course, he did the right thing. He didn't trade in a game to GameStop, but he showed some faults in their system of what they have. But I'm sure a lot of the hardcore collectors like really frown upon that, and I don't blame them. I just kind of look at it in the sense of for people that I know that aren't going to do anything bad with these. They just kind of want to have that game in their collection, but shouldn't have to pay. Like I say, $100 to somebody that bought this crap for $1 at a flea market. Like, screw that. Screw you all who are selling it for that. And, if these people just want to have it on their shelf, I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they're not trying to pass it off as legit copy, like say I had this copy of Demon's Crest and I was trying to sell it to somebody for over like $100. I'm like, yeah, this is Demon's Crest. This is really rare. This is a collectible. That would be kind of messed up. But to be honest, like reproduction carts, like going on websites like AliExpress, and I mean the only downside is the carts take like a month to get to you because they're like from freaking China. But I feel like a kid in a candy store when I go in there and I see like Castlevania Dracula X, Demon's Crest, the Dragon Warriors 5 and 6 on the Super Nintendo, English translated with the save battery. I see it for like, $16. How can you say no to that? I got Gunstar Heroes on the Sega Genesis for $3.99. Freaking $3.99. I mean, that is insane. It's more expensive on the Xbox and PSN marketplace, and that's digital.
You won't find prices like that since back in like 2007 when you get Genesis games for like 50 cents or $1. Things just get so ridiculous. It's like I don't see a problem. Like I said, either way, they're pieces of plastic. You got somebody that's making $10 or $15, or like I said, you got someone that paid $1 for the real one at a flea market and is selling it for $100, and they're making $99. It's just like, how much do you want to pay to somebody? $15 or $99?
Yeah.
Take your pick. Like I said, as long as you do the right thing. People do wrong. So a lot of us would consider just morally wrong things every day. hopefully a lot of people won't do that. Like you said, it's passing things off. But if you just want a copy of a piece of plastic for your shelf, like, why not save some money? Like, why not? And use that money. Wow, there's so much other stuff. Like I said, 15 from 99. That's a lot of dollars you could buy other bootleg games with, or you could do something good, or something else. Who knows?
And that's another reason. That's another reason why it's been hard for me to go out and get a game for $60, because I spent $24 and got like 4 games online, like 4 repros for $24. I mean, including like Mother 3, a game that's not here, that's in Japan only.
Here's the game. You need to see if they get a copy of Dragon View. It's one I talked about before. It's a sequel to Draken on the Super NES, which is a really terrible early RPG. It's really bad. But the sequel, Dragon View, it's got almost kind of like Zelda 2 elements to it, and you only get the bad 3D world when you're kind of traversing the area. When you actually fight things, it goes into 2D. It's really cool, and the cart is like $75. So if you happen to find that one for cheap, I'd highly recommend that one. I've been playing it on like my emulators. It was one I found that I really fell in love with. I was like, man, this is an awesome game that has been out for a long time that I just completely missed, never heard of. Probably because, like I said, if I saw anything related to Draken, I probably wouldn't want to play it. That was the first Super NES game I ever rented, and it was a waste of money too.
Oh, geez. Well, I think this is going to conclude another episode of Xsgaming Podcast. And again, guys, if you're listening to us on Podomatic or iTunes, be sure to follow us. If you're on iTunes, be sure to rate our show. It helps other listeners find us in the iTunes land. And also, this podcast is going to be on a little bit later on YouTube. And I know some people that prefer to listen to the podcast on YouTube are like, sometimes they'll message me like, when's the next podcast up? It's not up yet. Or I saw it on Podomatic, it's not on YouTube yet. YouTube's always going to be a little bit later, rather it be a couple days or sometimes even a week. It depends on my schedule. So the best way to listen to Xsgaming Podcast is Podomatic or on iTunes. That's like exclusively the best way. But you also have other alternatives, including YouTube and now VidMe. And if you're listening to us on VidMe, be sure to follow us. I also do other things other than the audio podcast. I have, of course, the YouTube channel Xander, Skullion, and VidMe, where I do Let's Plays, game reviews, pickups. I have a pickups video I'm about to film tomorrow, actually. And there's all sorts of just craziness. And if you're a content creator and you want to join in some great discussions, be sure to join the Xsgaming Podcast group page on Facebook. That's facebook.com/group/Xsgaming Podcast, all one word. And you guys can follow us there. And if you have a YouTube channel or podcast, be sure to share it. But don't just turn it into a spam. Be sure to have some discussion with us too, because we did have a lot of members that would join that would just drop off their videos, and it becomes a big colluded mess. We like to have like some nice discussion. It is a community. So anyway, guys, as always, thanks for listening. I hope you guys have a very Merry Christmas, and as always, happy gaming.
Have a pleasant evening, everybody, and Merry Christmas too.
Can't get enough of Xsgaming Podcast? Be sure to check out our audio podcast on Podomatic.com. You can also subscribe to us on iTunes. And if you have a YouTube channel or podcast you'd like to share, be sure to check us out on Facebook on our group page and join the community. As always, guys, thank you so much for all the support, and happy gaming.